Hello and welcome to NL Playoffs. My name is Gautam. This is round 13 of the NL Playoffs. I have with me my co-host Aniket. Aniket, say hi.
Hello world.
Today is the 20th of January 2022 is when we are recording this. Aniket, I'm not going to spend a lot of time engaging in small talk with you because we have a very special guest with us today. We are very, very honored to have her. So I'll let you do her intro first.
So our guest today has been a sports journalist for over 3 decades, with a career ranging from the Mumbai tabloid Midday through the Hindu, India Today magazine, ESPN Cricket Info, ESPN India. So she's covered sports, all form of sports, right from cricket to sailing to volleyball, and has academic publications, has reported playing cricket from 9 countries, and reported also on 2 Olympic Games. So before there is any more suspense left or everyone's already guessed, we're welcoming Sharda Ugra to our podcast. So thank you so much for making it. It's an absolute pleasure having you here.
Hi, Gautam. Hi, Aniket. Thank you so much. Thanks so much for inviting me. I'm looking forward to the chat.
Sharda, we had, when we initially started this podcast, we had a dream list of guests to invite on the podcast. So you're like, chalo, Sharda Ugra ka naam rakh dete hain. If possible, we can have her. We were just being greedy, okay? So you're literally number one on the list. I'm not even joking. And to have this come to fruition in like 12 or 13 episodes is such a great pleasure. So really, really thank you very much for joining us.
I'm so flattered to hear you say that. Except if you ask any of my friends, they know I love talking. You could have asked me first. I would have been guest number 1. But I'm happy to be number 13. Yeah.
It's more on us because we have to get some reps to feel a little comfortable. Not that we are comfortable now anyway, but we will try. We have a whole list of topics to cover today, Sharda. So we'll get straight into it. What we kind of do with this podcast is this is a bi-weekly podcast, so we do it every 2 weeks. So what we try to do is try to pick 2 or 3 topics, mostly 2 topics that are making the news and kind of try to go in depth on them. So what we'd like to do is, at least for this episode, is we'd like to cover what's been happening with the Indian cricket team, specifically, obviously, the big thing, which is Virat Kohli and the whole captaincy saga, so to say. And there's also another saga on the other side of the world in Australia where Novak Djokovic was supposed to play today, I believe, because Australian Open is on right now. So, but now I believe he's in Dubai or Serbia or wherever he is not anywhere to be seen down under. So we'll talk about that. And also, Sania Mirza announced her retirement at the end of this year. So we'll talk about her as well. But let's get straight into the whole Virat Kohli situation and Team India situation. Virat Kohli announced just after the end of the third test, after the loss to South Africa, that he's going to step down as the captain of the Indian test side. Was the writing pretty much on the wall for Kohli that he saw the future and thought that he was not going to, at somewhere down the line, that he was not going to be the captain, or he was going to strip off it given the current climate? Or what? It's speculation for me at this point as to what his thinking was, but what did you make of the whole Kohli situation?
I was thinking about it yesterday, and I was chatting to a few people, and I said, look, if Kohli would not have stepped down as T20 international captain, would any of this have happened? And the answer to that is no. So maybe there's a miscalculation that started it out for whatever the reason. His intent was good, that he wanted to look after his batting, because his batting, he's gone now 26 months, I think 26 months without 100, right? And so the idea is absolutely clear. He wants to do this, but he ran into this sort of a little bit of a problem. And I think the big shift that has happened for Kohli particularly is that at the moment now he's run up against a cricket board, where previously there was no board. Cricket board means it's basically 2 people, 3 max if we are generous. So he's run up against the BCCI, whereas for the last, say, 4 years or so, say 2016 onwards till about 2020, it was just him, whatever he wanted happened. And this is the first time he ran into someone telling him, no, but this is not what you should do. And we must also remember, I wrote a piece in the Hindustan Times about it, that there are two versions of the truth. Now, are we believing Kohli because he has 187 million Instagram players and he is a current player who tends to have the world behind him, and all the other guys are sort of retired, and what does Ganguly know? And you get into that kind of this thing. Or are there two truths that are in this scenario? But undeniably, what has happened is that, and plus his coach has changed. He's now got a new coach, Ravi Shastri, who was his massive ally and his big support. And maybe they had they had an incredible working partnership, and that gave you results. So all that has shifted around him. So when he called for this decision that I'm going to stand down as T20 captain, you would have, if he asked you, Gautam, or if he asked you, Aniket, I want to stand down as T20 captain, what would your answer have been to him? He said, like, why? How much T20 cricket do you guys play in a year? But I think again, we are mind reading, which Sunil Gavaskar says you should absolutely not do. You should know where your off stump is and you should not mind read. Cricketers should know where the off stump is and journalists should not mind read. Batsmen should know. The decision that he took has proved to be almost catastrophic, if I can use the word. He will not use the word catastrophic, but for him, for his place, for the team's position at the moment. I'm just writing something for the Wisden Almanac about India's year. And it's so hard to get your head around what has happened. It's just gone like this. In what was, everyone said it's our best test match year ever. And Ravi Shastri said this is one of the great teams ever. And you can disagree on one of those things. But so that's what I feel the situation has come to. And now it's become a question of personalities. It's become a question of ego. There'll be stories coming out written by my friend Neeru Bhatia, who's a superb reporter and writer at The Week, which will tell you exactly what happened behind the scenes. I'm not sure when this podcast is going to be released, but I think we will hear that Kohli was upset in the manner in which he was told that his one-day captaincy was taken from him. And Chetan Sharma called him very early in the morning, as in way before that 90 minutes or half an hour or whatever he said in his press conference. Chetan Sharma said he spoke to him way before that. So that's the two sort of versions of the truth that are going out. And again, are you going to believe the superstar or are you going to believe the chairman of selectors? So, and when we take those decisions, we are thinking, okay, from the point of view of being an older person, I'm looking at it from a much more detached manner rather than younger people who are really angry about it or whatever.
I had a follow-up question on this, right? So, Kohli stepping down from T20 was had this snowballing effect. So there have now essentially been two change of guards, right? One is in the Indian cricket team with Rohit Sharma taking over the white ball, so-called white ball cricket, and also the administrative team has been overhauled. So the two questions are: is this necessary to where it has come to? With Kohli now stepping down from a Test captaincy, given the incredible performance he has had as a Test captain. I'm keeping the one days away out of this. So I think the statistics say that out of 68 games, India has won 40 under his ages. So it's a pretty great record to have. And then there's also the sense of politicking that's happening, right? It's not only this effect of captaincy we're seeing, but also the coach. There were talks about how Dravid was kind of arm twisted to get into this position before he was actually ready and stuff like that. So I just wanted your thoughts on this and what is your inkling about this?
Just the first thing to say is that you cannot arm twist Rahul Dravid into doing anything he does not want to do. Right? I'm just saying this, okay. I'm putting it out there. Neither on the cricket field, you could arm twist him anyway when he was batting. You could arm twist him about a lot of things, and definitely not on the field. So, in a sense, what I had heard is that there were requests from a lot of the players to Rahul Dravid to take this job up, right? At this point. Maybe he would have thought later, whatever. I mean, again, I'm not mind reading, but I'm telling you what is basically information. And fairly accurate information that he was asked to take over as coach because of whatever. Now, did this necessarily have to be the situation? It's absolutely unnecessary because what completely accelerated everything and what completely escalated the situation was when Kohli had that press conference and he dropped a bomb and he said, no, Ganguly never spoke to me. And Ganguly said, no, of course I spoke to you. And then you're in this state. So he has gone into the tour of South Africa with almost like his captaincy and on the line on the basis of his batting. That was one piece that I wrote, and then it didn't matter because his batting was all right. He did okay in the series, but we didn't win. So when I wrote about it, I said, look, if we lose and he does poorly, then it's heads completely on the line. If we lose and he does okay, but there'll still be discussions. If we win, then he's king of the world. If he win and he scores, he's king of the world. But what I'm hearing now from people is that he was going to quit the test captaincy regardless. He would like to have quit it under the case of, again, this is just via, as we say to each other, via. Means like Kohli didn't tell me and Kohli didn't tell my friend, but Kohli heard it from they heard it from another person who say Kohli told them. So that's via. This is our language that journalists use. Yeah. Where does this come from? Yeah, it's via. So this is the via story that he would have quit the test captaincy had he won, because it would have been an absolutely fine statement to say. But the strange thing is that India doesn't have any important test matches to play this year. I mean, they've got important test matches. Every test match is important. It is the saga, the greatest of test cricket. But Australia are coming here to India, and we're going to Bangladesh, and we're playing against Sri Lanka next month, right? So where's the fire, But now fire, it's not a fire, it's a blazing inferno.
We've opened up a whole Pandora's box and we can keep going with this thing. But that's probably for another day. This is just a short snippet of our podcast. To catch the whole episode, do listen to us on any podcast platforms: Stitcher, SoundCloud, iTunes, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. We are there. Go check out our podcast on the newslaundry.com website as well.
The subscription model is something that keeps News Laundry afloat, but we need hundreds and thousands of people to completely transform the news ecosystem. So you pay for news, so it serves you. So click on the link with this video, subscribe to News Laundry and pay to keep news free, और गर्व से कहो, मेरे खर्च पर आज़ाद है खबरें.